I feel really called to share on this really quick. Everything that we do in this life is ministry. And when I got this revelation, it really set me free, okay? Because we can be in a season of waiting on stuff to come to us that we desire and want, but also totally overlooking the fact of every other way that God has given us ministry in our lives. And we can make idols out of our desires. And God's like, you have your eyes focused on this one thing, but I've got 7 other things in front of you that I have let you, steward and minister to and speak into, and you're only focused on this one thing. So for people that are in a waiting season with, your significant other and who you're called to do life with, like, just because I do not have, which is a ministry, like marriage is a ministry. If you can get that will set you free in a lot of ways. Like, marriage is a ministry. It's not just for your needs. It's not just for enjoyment and like having someone by your side, like, which those are all good things. There's so much more purpose though in marriage, because it's a covenant and it's a ministry and it's a way that people are going to be able to see Christ's love through you guys and minister that to other people, whether you know that or not. That's what you do essentially. It's a glorifying mechanism. So God may need to prepare you before this glorifying mechanism. And marriage is meant to, like, obviously you have the honeymoon phase when everything is great, but after that, it is meant to show you the ways you still need to be worked on, the ways you still need to become more holy and more pure. And it's going to show you the ugly parts of you so that it can change and grow and become better, so you guys can be this epic light to the world. And so it's going to require transformation. And that's where people, I believe, get stuck in marriages. They say, I'm not participating in this transformation. I'm not participating in change. I'm not participating in getting better. I'm not participating in getting more holy. And that's where marriage really, plummets. And it can be for other reasons too, but that just came to my mind. So anyway, if I sit here and focus on what I don't have, as far as like a significant other, then I miss every other way that God has given me to minister to people. And he's given me so many ways, okay? So like where you work at, full on ministry. Even if you're not sitting there preaching Jesus, everything that you say and everything that you do, you are an example to someone. And you can be a good example or a bad example. And how do I explain this? Like, I'm not trying to preach Jesus to people in the workplace, but because that's all I do with my time is try to become more like Jesus, it just comes out of me in conversation because it's rooted in here. So everything that I am, and I'm in the workplace, I'm ministering to people whether I know it or not. With just anybody in general that I see out in the world, like anything I say to them is a ministry opportunity. With friendships, anything any way I can serve them or do for them or say to them or encourage them is a ministry. Like, friendships are ministry opportunities for you guys to get better and sharpen each other. So there's so many other ways that God's like, Erica, I trust you with all these other things. So focus on what I have given you instead of the one thing, which I am going to do another video, because I prayed this crazy prayer because it really became a burden of singleness, and I prayed to God that he would take the desire away from me and just give it back to me when I needed it, and he literally did. This was probably like 4 months ago now, so I feel so much peace and contentment at the moment that whenever God's timing is fine with me. But that took forever to get to this moment, so I will do a separate video on that, on the crazy prayer. But if I sit here and focus on what I don't have, like, then you miss it. You miss everything in front of you that God has been like, but I gave you all of these other areas. And like, if you're a parent, oh, that's the biggest ministry. Like, and that's another thing, is viewing parenting as you are discipling your child. Every single day you are discipling them to be able to go out into the world. And that's ministry every day, all day, for how many people they're going to touch and impact in every way, like every conversation that they are going to have. That's full on ministry that God has trusted me with. So this is just fresh revelation I've got recently about just not staying on the one thing that you think you're missing or lacking, not staying focused on that, because God's like, I gave you all of these other areas, and you're gonna get that thing that you want, because like he cares about our desires and our heart. But what it has come down to, what I want now is like, I just ultimately desire to have a right relationship with God, because that's where I feel the most satisfaction and fulfillment. If God adds on top of everything that he's already given me, a spouse, that would be amazing. But if he doesn't, I still feel so much satisfaction and fulfillment in my relationship with God and what I am called here to do, that I do not feel like I'm lacking. And since I prayed this prayer, I have not felt like I'm missing or lacking something. I just believe I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I'm already in charge of a lot of other ways with ministry that God trusts me with, and the thing will come when it's supposed to, in God's divine timing. And in the meantime, I pray every day that God changes me to, the things that need to be changing me still before this person arrives. And I think that's mainly what I wanted to share. And I want to say a disclaimer to what I just said a minute ago. I can't sit here and say that one thing is going to happen. That's totally up to God and his timing. What I can say though is I've never felt deeper satisfaction and fulfillment than when I'm completely focused on him, and I'm not looking for anything outside of him, and I'm every day doing and hearing from him and doing the things that he's called me to do. And like when you start walking in obedience daily, you hear from him, you go do what he said, and you see the fruit of it. That there is like true satisfaction and fulfillment. And as long as I can keep doing that, like, I'll be happy and content no matter what. I am still believing that God is going to deliver this promise at some point, but I do think maybe that there's a couple other ways that that God needs to work on me before this happens. And man, I've been so transformed the last, I don't even know how many years now. It's been a couple years. I've been so transformed in so many ways that none of it's wasted. Everything that God's done in me prior to my significant other coming along, none of it's wasted. It's all, God has pruned me and made me fruitful, and it's all been for his glory. So don't look at singleness like a disease. It's not. Marriage is not this thing that people get when they do something really well and now it's a bonus, and singleness is not a disease, okay? Serving the Lord, whether you're single or married, is the whole point. And marriage can almost be a distraction from really your true relationship with God, because it's just something else other in the way. So singleness can be a blessing in a lot of ways if it's just one-on-one with you, God. It's deep intimacy daily. So when you can turn your mind to that and not the loneliness aspect, when you just turn all your effort and your thoughts to God, you don't feel loneliness anymore. It's the times when I'm kind of half in with God and half out that loneliness occurs. And you got to create this beautiful life too. You can't just like on the weekends do nothing and be like, God, I feel so lovely, please send my person. Create a beautiful life with God. He will literally give you hobbies and activities and people that like you love spending time with, and it doesn't feel like you're alone. And so yeah, I just want to share that. God is so good. He's doing so many good things right now, and I just encourage you to always turn your attention to him, always turn your thoughts to him, always turn your focus to him, and then the things that you think you're lacking or missing or whatever, it'll evaporate because you're so focused on God. So anyway, it's just one way I've been free recently. Okay.